Alluri Sitaram Raju is a terrible human being. Now, RRR was easily one of the best movies of 2022, so I jumped at the chance to finally see it on the big screen when a cinema near me had an anniversary screening, and I still think it's a great film. But I just can't get over what a despicable person Raju is throughout the movie, and he's somehow still portrayed as a hero who did the right thing, with Bheem even begging for forgiveness when he finds out the truth. We're supposed to understand his actions and even empathise with him, believing his noble ends justify the means. But the reality is that it's near impossible to forgive his repeatedly reprehensible deeds when other options were available. And it all just shows what a piece of shit he really is. I feel like spoilers are fair game at this point, so we all know Raju is only working undercover in the police as a mole, trying to impress the cartoonishly evil British governor so that he can get promoted to a level where he's able to steal gun shipments and redirect them to his village to start a revolution and free them from tyrannical British oppression. And yeah, that's an admirable goal. But less than 10 minutes into the film, Raju is leaping into crowds of his fellow countrymen and batting the shit out of them with his police stick. He even goes so far as to deliberately push some of them down a rocky cliff, and we see a guy crack his head against the stone during his fall. So like a lot of these guys, he's either dead or severely brain damaged after this encounter. And what was his crime? Well, he, like everyone else there, was protesting against the British forces, demanding the release of their leader, the freedom fighter Lala Lajpat Rai, who, side note here, actually died in real life due to severe head injuries caused by a police baton during a peaceful protest. Back to the movie though, and Raju eventually apprehends the main criminal he jumped into the crowd for, and he brings him back to the precinct under arrest. Now bear in mind that this guy's big crime was that he just threw a rock that knocked down a picture of King George. And the movie doesn't actually elaborate any further on what happens to him next, but with a little bit of imagination, we can assume that in the best case scenario, he's going to be trialled under British law as for advocating for the abolition of the monarchy, which carries a sentence of lifetime imprisonment. But with the total disregard for Indian life that these British villains have, I'd say he's far more likely to just be executed, probably by some sort of head bludgeoning, to save money on bullets. So, unfortunately, Raju's initial plan of violently beating up and possibly killing revolutionaries who would be on his side didn't net him the promotion he was after. But lucky for him, he learns that the governor has kidnapped a child and a man is coming to rescue her. And if he can keep that child captive by stopping that man, he'll get the promotion he needs. And this is all before he knows Bheem is that would-be rescuer. So in order to identify him, he captures Laku and tortures the poor guy, breaking his fingers and savagely beating his legs, probably hobbling him for life. And sure, we see Raju show some remorse for his actions soon after, but a bit of self-reflection or regret doesn't suddenly heal somebody's broken bones. And I guess this finally brings us to his relationship with Bheem. The bromance was a focal point of the movie, with the eventual confrontation between them being the highly anticipated moment where the irresistible force finally meets the immovable object. It's undeniably awesome to watch, but it never should have happened. Bheem saves Raju's life after a snakebite before confessing his true identity to him, and despite knowing what the two are capable of achieving together, and surely knowing that Bheem is unquestionably morally in the right to want to rescue the little girl, Raju continues his plan to get promoted by arresting Bheem. Surely the better option was to team up with his best friend / saviour and help return the little girl to a small, oppressed village. Surely Raju can empathise with him, seeing as his village was wronged by the British too. And then the two could have still gotten the weapons, not through a series of morally reprehensible actions, but through simple brute force, like they did at the end of the movie anyway. And this way even saves them each a bit of prison time and torture too. It's an absolute no-brainer. But then on the flip side, we wouldn't have gotten the whole cool piggyback action sequence if Raju wasn't such a dick. So maybe it was all worth it in the long run anyway. I guess what the movie really left me wondering is whether people would have so easily overlooked all the bad shit Hitler did if he simply ran around with Anne Frank on his shoulders one night, uppercutting some Nazis, and telling us he was a secret revolutionary that just went a little bit off track. Anyway, cheers for watching, and I'll leave you with one final question. Would a good guy really sabotage a woman's vehicle in order to leave her stranded and in desperate need of help? The guy is definitely a psychopath. Ta-ra.